Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. About 25 years ago, as of the time of this video's release, the pilot episode of a slice of life comedy series called Gilmore Girls first aired. And as someone who has been interested in this show ever since it first arrived in his native country, I wanted to mark that occasion in some capacity. And when it came to how I would mark it, there were two options that immediately stood out. The first of which was a review of The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop, who played Emily Gilmore in the aforementioned show. But the second, and the one that obviously, as of the title of this video may have revealed, won out, is... I'm gonna have to pick you up from Talking as Fast as I Can, From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between by Lauren Graham, who played Lorelai Gilmore in the aforementioned show. Now let's see if I can put you back right. Okay, we're good. When it came, in case you're wondering how I decided between these two, well, there were really two factors that went into it. The first of which is that unlike Emily, Lauren is actually a bona fide author and screenwriter in her own right, which means that whatever would have been in her book would have been more likely to, first of all, be her own words. Secondly of all, actually be presented in a more interesting way. But really the second and perhaps decisive factor that really made, sold me on this book over the other was the fact that when looking at the characters these two have played, I think it is safe to say that the character whose initials match those of the person who performed her, had a more significant impact on the success of the show. You can debate that if you wish, but that is ultimately why I made that decision, or my impressions on the answers to that was what helped me make that decision. Does that also mean that the book itself would have been is better? Well, I can't really say that because as of the time of this video's production, I haven't actually read Emily's book. But when it comes to Lauren's book, my impressions in summary are this book is a thrill ride and a half. There is a little bit of running, but otherwise there isn't really anything that is traditionally thrilling. There are no explosions, no one's getting run over, there aren't any extended action sequences, and yet I was glued to the page regardless. Trying to unglue myself from each page was a struggle every time, but it was worth it every time because Lauren's insight, witticism, and the very astute way in which she presents her perspectives makes for a has made for a very intriguing reading experience following through following through over the course of this book, and that made it an interesting and exciting book to an interesting and exciting book to follow up on, and one that very much kept me invested throughout the entire reading experience, because it had a lot of, not only did it have a lot of wit and a lot of humor, but also a lot of sincerity and a lot of insight and a lot of traditional depth to it that really makes it a sought after and exciting reading experience, or allows for it to grant you that that kind of reading experience. So if you are in any way interested in the career of this author, or are generally curious what it's like to be what it's like to work within the mid to high tier of Hollywood as a performer, then I can quite safely say that I recommend this book to you. And now that I'm done with the general impressions, it's time I delved into some specifics. This book, like most other autobiographies, or even biographies more generally, is split up into into various chapters or essays, as the Amazon description calls them, detailing the life of the person being discussed, or covering the impressions or characteristics of this person, but still somewhat focusing on the on various aspects of their life, because those aspects of their life very much influence their their mindscape as well. When it comes to this book, I can very safely say that it kind of does a mix, because it kind of does a mixture of both, but focusing primarily on the chronological aspect. And throughout this book, you'll get to know a lot of the factors that went into Lauren's, into Lauren's childhood, and all of the, everything that made it benevolent, and all the benevolently irregular aspects that made it, distinctive, so to speak. How she, how she is connected to and separated from her family, how she got her start within the, acting business or the acting profession, how her, how her working in other fields ended up influencing not just her acting career, but also her, academic studies, and going through her, for the struggles that she, went through in order to, uh, settle into the niche that the entertainment industry's movers and shakers have inadvertently uh, uh, made available for her. And however, this book is not just a description of the various events that she went through. It is also peppered with a variety of anecdotes from all over her life, and these can go and this can be as broad and as varied as how she, as how she went by, how she managed time in a crunch, various interactions with, various interactions from casting moments, how she talked with various acting colleagues, various backstage interactions with writers, producers, how she, impressions she gained from talking to people who are completely unconnected to her, such as, such as author James Patterson. Well, okay, they are connected in the sense that she follows up on his work, but they aren't, intimately familiar with each other, so to speak. And throughout all of these anecdotes, because these aren't just anecdotes, they are also, they're also morality plays. They also feed into the larger story that is, getting to know Lauren, and it is through these interactions that readers get to know a lot about, how she views the world, how it is that she understands and gets along with other people, how those interactions impact her, her interactions with other people, and to some extent how those interactions also reveal parts of herself to herself that she potentially didn't figure out, or wouldn't have figured out otherwise. And all of that is presented in a very, in that very zany and unflinching lust for life that very much characterizes Lauren's, Lauren's appeal and charisma. That being said, it is not just, this book isn't just wild, random, and wildly random. There are plenty of moments within within this constructed chaos that she, weaves throughout the pages of the book, where silence is allowed to set in, where she is, or relative silence, and where she allows her readers to see into her soul, as it were, and really get to know her, and really get to know her more deeply, get to know what certain people have, what certain people have meant to her, what certain opportunities have meant to her, and how, how that, and how those opportunities led to the various impacts over the course of her life that she has, that she herself has experienced. There are plenty of parts where she, where she describes herself as having cried, and those parts are, and I can say those parts are very much justified in in getting that reaction out of her. And I personally got a little bit misty-eyed as well when when going through these through those sections of the book. She is not afraid to portray herself as a as a zany character within this within this madcap story that that ended up defining her life, and it ended up uh, and that is shaped by a whole lot of influences that converged atop her and made her that made her weave all around them, taking pieces from the environment and integrating them within her. But she is very deliberate in also allowing moments of catharsis, in allowing moments of recognition and connection to build, between herself and the audience, ultimately making her, ultimately making her presentation much more intriguing to follow, and making her own image, her own impression, her own appearance become that much more vivid, that much more authentic. And I could point to various, I could point to various issues that I would have with this, that I would have with this book. But really, all of these issues primarily stem from points of divergence between, between myself and the various and potentially various conclusions she reaches. And those divergences really do nothing to, sorry about that. Those conclusions really do nothing to, to in any way soften or take away any of the key aspects of the book, or any of the, any of the general warmth and wit and relatability that she is able to include within her pages. So yeah, overall, this is a very hard book to describe, because because you really have to be in the moment and in the flow to in the flow to really process. And it is especially hard to describe when you're trying to describe it without spoiling anything. But so I hope I did as as good a job as I could have, because this offer really deserves that. Because through her through her influence, and I'm not just talking about as a performer, but I'm talking particularly over the course of this book, and how she's able to present, and how she's able to present herself, how she is able to use her wit and her perspective in order to showcase showcase her warmth, her relatability, her authenticity, and really in many ways her playfulness. Really make this the reading experience that this book allows to become very memorable, very distinctive, and ultimately charm its audience. My final rating for Talking as Fast as I Can is a 5 out of 5. Yes, really. It's about time I had one of those this year. And yeah, that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, well then please like the video, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there is anything you'd like to add, either to the book itself or to my review of it, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My books, the first of my own Heir to the Empire series, The Next Generation and The Path Not Taken, are available at various book retailers under their respective master links in the description down below. Right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. And given my third book is on the way, my social media links are quite likely to become more interesting than they would otherwise be. I also have a second channel where you can hear me talking about whatever crosses my mind. though I'll say the focus point is still revolves around narrative analyses, but of works outside of the print medium. So if that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead and check it out. If, however, you want to hear more about my thoughts on the print medium and selected works therein, well, then I suggest you stay on this channel and go through my substantial backlog. Uh, substantial, or should I say extensive? And anyway, one of those. Let's go with extensive backlog, where you'll find a lot of book reviews, writing advice, and miscellaneous connected topics. If none of those interest you, then I suggest you go ahead and do whatever you want the rest of your day, because it is your day after all. And yeah, that was it for me. So without further ado, until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.